Somewhere beneath the surface of your thoughts, a silent workshop has been operating your entire life. It has built the bridges of your relationships, carved the tunnels of your habits, assembled the machinery of your finances, and painted the landscapes of your emotions. It works without rest, without fatigue, without complaint. It accepts every instruction you give it, whether you speak those instructions aloud or whisper them with feelings of fear, doubt, or faith. This workshop is your subconscious mind, the inner factory of destiny, and tonight you step quietly into its control room. You may not have realized it, but you have been sending orders to this mental factory since childhood. Every word you heard with emotion, every thought you repeated, every image you held in your mind with feeling became a blueprint stored in this inner reservoir. The subconscious does not argue, it does not reason as the conscious mind does. It does not say, "This is too small for you," or "You deserve better than this." It simply takes your dominant impressions, your deep-seated beliefs, and it begins manufacturing conditions, opportunities, and outcomes to mirror them. The outer world becomes a reflection of the inner blueprint. Modern science now tells us that the brain is not fixed, not a rigid structure destined to repeat the past forever. It is plastic, malleable, constantly rewiring itself. This is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change its own structure and connections in response to repeated thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Every time you dwell on a thought, you fire networks of neurons in your brain. Fired together, they wire together. The more often you think in a certain way, the more readily your brain will think that way again. Yet this science, rather than contradicting the ancient wisdom of the mind, beautifully confirms it. For what is neuroplasticity but the outer evidence of an inner law, the law that as you think and feel, so you become? Your subconscious mind is the bridge between your invisible beliefs and the visible conditions of your life. Psychologists speak of emotional patterning, the recurring feelings that form the background music of your days: guilt, fear, resentment, or perhaps peace, gratitude, and quiet confidence. These emotional patterns are like currents in the deep ocean of your mind. You may only see the waves at the surface, the outward events and experiences, but those waves are driven by the silent movement beneath. If the current flows toward lack and limitation, you will find your boat inexplicably pulled into shortage, struggle, and the repetition of old financial stories. If the current flows toward wealth, harmony, and sufficiency, life begins to arrange itself in surprising, almost uncanny ways to match that inner direction. Consider wealth, not merely as money, but as a state of expanded possibility. Wealth is the freedom to express your gifts, to move through life with ease, to bless others with your surplus. Wealth is an inner feeling of, "There is enough and I am enough," and that feeling communicates itself directly to the subconscious mind. Where once you only believed these truths intellectually, you now feel them in your bones. Wealth no longer seems like something that happens out there to people over there. It becomes a natural extension of who you are becoming. You feel sovereign, not in the sense of controlling every detail of life, but in the sense of knowing that, regardless of circumstances, you hold the power to choose your beliefs, to tend your inner garden, to direct your mental factory. You are no longer a victim of old programming. You are the programmer. As this realization deepens, a gentle gratitude arises, not only for the blessings that appear, but for the journey itself, for the nights of doubt that taught you to look inward, for the hard lessons that pushed you to question your assumptions, for the moments of surrender when you finally admitted, "I cannot continue thinking the way I always have." Those very moments were turning points, invitations back to the law of your being. You begin to see others differently as well. Instead of resenting those who appear wealthy, you recognize that they, too, are working with their own beliefs, patterns, and fears. Instead of judging those who struggle, you feel compassion and a quiet certainty that they, too, can awaken to their inner creative power. You understand that the same universal law operates through all, and you realize that your own alignment contributes silently to the upliftment of the whole. Now, as we draw this inner journey toward its close, let a final image settle gently into your mind. See yourself standing once more before the garden of your life. In the soil are many plants, some tall and flourishing, others small and newly sprouted, a few perhaps still reflecting old seeds from the past. You do not panic. You simply recognize that this garden is a living reflection of your inner cultivation. You kneel down, place your hand in the earth, and consciously choose what you will plant next. With each new belief you accept, I am worthy, life supports me, I align with wealth, you press a seed into the soil. With each act of gratitude, each quiet moment of scientific prayer, you water those seeds. With each practice of the sleeping method, you allow the darkness and rest of night to work their silent alchemy. You do not dig up the seeds to see if they are growing. You trust the process. You know that the law of growth is as dependable as the sunrise. In this calm trust, something beautiful happens. You no longer chase wealth as a desperate remedy for inner emptiness. You let wealth grow as the natural fruit of an aligned consciousness. You walk through your days aware that the inner world creates the outer world, that divine intelligence flows ceaselessly through you, that your subconscious mind is the loyal servant of your deepest convictions. You feel, perhaps for the first time, truly at home in your own mind. And so, with a quiet heart and a steady breath, you accept this truth. The power that shapes your financial life, your relationships, your health, your opportunities is not out there. It has always been within you as the creative law of belief. When you change what you deeply believe about yourself and about life, you change the pattern in your subconscious mind. When the pattern changes, the circumstances follow. You may return to these understandings again and again, each time descending more deeply into their meaning, each time allowing them to imprint more fully upon your inner factory, your mental reservoir, your spiritual blueprint. There is no rush. Truth is patient. The infinite is not in a hurry. From this moment forward, you walk with a new awareness. Every thought is a seed, every feeling a frequency, every belief a command to the silent engine within. You are free to choose which seeds you plant, which frequencies you sustain, which commands you issue. In that freedom lies your sovereignty, your wealth, your peace. Let this realization rest in you now, not as a loud proclamation, but as a soft, enduring knowing. Transformation begins with a shift in consciousness and thought. When you align your belief with the infinite good that is already here, you align with wealth through the law of belief, and the universe, in its unfailing faithfulness, responds. When you say, I never have enough, with emotional conviction, you are sending that as a command to the silent engine within. When you say, things always work out for me, with quiet certainty and feeling, you are issuing a very different order. The law is impartial. It receives both statements, and it begins to reorganize your experiences accordingly. Belief is the law of your life, and your subconscious is the obedient servant of that belief. Some people imagine that wealth is obtained only by force, competition, or cleverness. They believe that life is a small pie, and that for one person to receive more, another must receive less. Yet universal mind does not operate by subtraction. It operates by expansion. Think for a moment of the electricity in your home. When you plug in a lamp, you do not fear that someone else's light will go out. The power plant does not ration its current based on anxiety or comparison. It simply responds to the connection. Wealth is like this spiritual electricity. There is a great power plant of infinite supply in the invisible realm, and your subconscious mind is the transformer that steps this infinite potential down into the concrete forms of your experience. This is not vague mysticism. In physics, we learn that everything in the universe at its most fundamental level is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts and emotions generate their own electromagnetic signatures, subtle fields that interact with your nervous system, your body, and, through your behavior and perception, with the field of life around you. When you repeatedly think thoughts of poverty, fear, and unworthiness, you tune your nervous system to a frequency that expects lack, notices lack, and unconsciously creates lack. When you repeatedly dwell on inner images of sufficiency, generosity, and ease, you begin to resonate with a very different frequency. Sigh. The world you see is not merely out there. It is filtered, shaped, and selected by the inner vibration of your belief. Perhaps you have seen this in your own life. Think of someone who always seems to have bad luck. Jobs slip away, relationships crack, opportunities dissolve at the last moment. If you could listen to their inner dialogue, you might hear over and over again, "Things never work out for me. I can't trust anyone. Life is against me." These words are not just sounds. They are mental prayers, repeated affirmations of misfortune. The subconscious mind hears them as instructions, and the silent engine begins turning to produce conditions that match them. Meanwhile, another person seems to walk in a field of quiet favor. They expect doors to open. They believe that every seeming setback hides a greater good. They do not shout these beliefs. They rest in them, and life reflects this rest. The good news, the liberating revelation, is that no pattern is final. No belief is a prison unless you insist on living within it. Your subconscious is programmable. Just as a garden does not argue with the seeds planted in it, your mind will grow whatever thoughts you cultivate with feeling. You may have allowed the weeds of fear and limitation to take root, but you are still the gardener. You still hold the power to plant new seeds. That is the law of belief. Whatever you accept as true in your heart, your life will eventually reveal. Listen carefully now, for what follows is not theory, but instruction for the reshaping of your destiny. There is a time each day when the gate between your conscious and subconscious mind stands partly open, when the noise of the world quiets down and the inner workshop becomes especially receptive. This is the time of sleep. The moments before you drift into unconsciousness are the golden minutes when you can most easily impress new patterns upon the subconscious mind. This is sometimes called the sleeping method, the art of nighttime programming. As you prepare for sleep, the brain naturally shifts from busy waking rhythms into slower, more relaxed waves. In this state, your critical, analytical mind loosens its grip, and the subconscious stands ready to receive. Most people, without realizing it, use this sacred doorway to rehearse their worries. They replay the day's disappointments, think about unpaid bills, imagine conversations that never happened, and silently declare, "I don't know what I'm going to do." Then they fall asleep, handing these troubled images to the subconscious as their final orders for the night. The subconscious, always listening, spends the dark hours strengthening those very circuits of anxiety, rehearsing those fears in the neural pathways, knitting them more deeply into the emotional body. You, however, are now learning a different way. As you lay down at night, you will begin to treat those final minutes as an appointment with your deeper self. You will become intentional about the words and images you impress upon your inner mind. You might say slowly, gently, just before drifting off, "Infin, light intelligence within me now guides me to wealth, peace, and right action. My mind and body are aligned with abundance. I am safe. I am provided for. I am grateful." You will not repeat these as a desperate plea, but as a calm statement of truth that you are choosing to accept. You will feel the words, breathe them, let them sink down into the soft soil of the subconscious. In this sleeping method, you may also visualize. Visualization is not idle fantasy. It is the creation of a mental blueprint. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish sharply between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. Neural circuits fire in similar patterns whether you are remembering, imagining, or actually encountering something. This is why athletes rehearse their movements in the mind and find their performance improving in the body. When you visualize your desired state with emotion, you are rehearsing it not only psychologically but neurologically. You are laying down tracks in the brain and sending instructions to the subconscious workshop. This is the pattern to build. This is the direction to move. So, before sleep, see yourself living in the state you desire. If you seek financial peace, you may picture yourself looking at an account that is full and stable, feeling a gentle wave of relief and gratitude. You may see yourself giving freely, paying your obligations easily, supporting causes you believe in, and still having more than enough. If specific numbers help you, you may see them. If not, feel the quality, the calmness in your chest, the relaxation in your stomach, the lightness in your breath. Your subconscious responds to feeling more than to words. Let that feeling be the key. While you do this, notice the voice that says, "But this isn't true yet. Look at your situation." That voice belongs to the conscious, reasoning mind, which is used to judging by appearances. You respect it, but you do not allow it to dictate your destiny. The purpose of scientific prayer is not to describe your current reality, but to impress a new reality upon the subconscious. This kind of prayer is not begging a distant power to change its mind about you. It is harmonizing your inner thought and feeling with the nature of divine intelligence, which is always abundance, always order, always expansion. Scientific prayer is a method. You begin by turning gently inward, acknowledging that there is a wisdom greater than your personal ego, a vast field of intelligence that designed your body, grows the trees, guides the stars. This intelligence is not separate from you. It breathes you, thinks through you, lives in you as the very power of awareness. You then choose, consciously and deliberately, a new belief to install. If poverty has felt like a relentless pattern, your new belief might be, "The infinite source of wealth flows through me now. I am aligned with the law of increase. Opportunities appear, doors open, and right action is shown to me clearly." You phrase this belief in the present tense, not as something that might happen someday, but as a reality you are accepting now. You then repeat this statement slowly, feelingly, as though you were already living it. You give it a sense of quiet inevitability. You do not argue with old thoughts. You do not wrestle with doubts. This is where the law of substitution comes in. The mind cannot hold two contrary thoughts with equal belief at the same moment. When a thought of fear arises, "What if this doesn't work?" You do not try to suppress it by force. You simply notice it and gently replace it with your chosen statement. You say inwardly, "No, this is my new pattern. I am guided, I am supported, I am provided for." Each substitution is like changing the track on a record player. The song of your life begins to shift. This is emotional alchemy, the art of transforming your inner state by choosing your thoughts and engaging your feelings in new ways. Imagine that within you there is an inner chemist, an invisible alchemist standing at a great cauldron. Every time you feed this cauldron with fear, resentment, and criticism, the inner chemist mixes those elements and sends the resulting vibration through your nervous system. Your muscles tense, your stomach tightens, your breath shortens. You perceive the world as dangerous and limited. Yet the same chemist can work with different ingredients. Feed the cauldron with gratitude, praise, and trust, and the mixture becomes entirely different. Your body relaxes, your mind opens, your perception shifts. You begin to see solutions where before you only saw barriers. This is not pretending that pain does not exist. It is recognizing that your interpretation of events has creative power. A financial setback, for example, can be viewed as evidence of your failure and lack, or as a temporary reorganization in the field of your life, opening the way to something better aligned with your nature. When you choose the latter interpretation and feel it as true, your subconscious receives a message. We are moving forward. We are being guided. Let us look for new doors. Then you notice a conversation, an idea, an invitation that previously would have passed by unnoticed. Emotional alchemy shifts not only your feelings but your attention, and your attention determines what you find. In the wisdom of the body, we see further confirmation of this law. Somatic healing teaches that emotions are not only mental experiences, they live in the tissues, in the posture, in the breath. The subconscious mind speaks through the body. A lifetime of feeling not good enough may show up as a constant shrinking of the shoulders, a slight collapse in the chest, a hesitation in your step. When you begin to install new beliefs of worthiness and wealth, you may feel the body respond. A small lift of the head, a deeper inhalation, a sense of expansion in the heart. Pay attention to these signals, for they show that the inner blueprint is changing. As you align your thoughts with chosen truths, the body slowly releases old patterns and adopts new ones. Now understand that your subconscious mind is always listening. It never sleeps. Even as you drift into dreams, the deeper mind continues. to respond to the last impressions you have given it. It listens not only to your words, but to your tone, your emotional intensity, your most persistent inner stories. When you say, "I am so stupid," after a small mistake, it does not know that you are exaggerating or joking. It hears an instruction. Continue to organize experiences around the belief that I am inadequate. When you say, "I always find a way," even in the face of difficulty, and you feel that statement, it hears, "Develop pathways, ideas, and opportunities that confirm my resilience." The subconscious takes your inner speech as prophecy. Therefore, guard your inner conversation as you would guard a sacred altar. You do not need to become tense or fearful about every passing thought. That would only create more anxiety. But you do become more aware, more deliberate. When you catch yourself rehearsing poverty in your mind, seeing only bills, imagining rejection, predicting future disappointments, you pause. You remember that you are broadcasting instructions into your own mental factory, and you begin again with the law of substitution, calmly introducing a different story. I am learning, I am growing, I am aligning with wealth. Life is supporting me in ways I can see and ways I cannot yet see. There is a subtle but mighty practice that magnifies this work, the power of secrecy and silence. When a seed is first planted in the earth, it is hidden. It does not shout its existence to the sky. It germinates in darkness, protected from harsh winds and careless footsteps. In the same way, when you begin a new pattern of belief, when you set a new intention for wealth, it is often wise to keep it in the sacred silence of your own mind and heart. This is not secrecy born of fear or shame. It is secrecy born of reverence. You are guarding the tender shoot from the doubt and negativity that might trample it before its roots are strong. When you share your deepest desires or new beliefs with those who do not understand, they may respond from their own fear, saying, "Be realistic. People like us don't get wealthy. It's too risky." If you are not yet firmly rooted in your new conviction, their words can shake your confidence. The subconscious mind, hearing their doubt combined with your own uncertainty, may hesitate in its creative work. But when you keep your practice inward, speaking your prayers in the quiet of your own consciousness, the power of conviction grows undisturbed. You may notice a sense of sacred companionship, as though the infinite intelligence within you were saying, "Yes, keep going, let us build this together." At times you will feel an inner dialogue unfolding. A part of you may still cling to old stories. "My family was poor, I've always struggled, I'm too old to change." Another part, deeper and truer, begins to speak with calm authority. "Those were previous patterns, not eternal laws. The same life that breathes through all can breathe new conditions into my world. I am not my history. I am the consciousness in which history is remembered and transformed." Listen to this deeper voice. It is not loud, but it is sure. It speaks from the level of universal intelligence, the spiritual law that has never been limited by human statistics. As you continue along this inner journey, begin to see your subconscious mind as a vast mental reservoir, a storehouse of impressions and patterns. Some of those patterns were poured in without your consent, when you were too young to choose. You may have heard statements like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Rich people are greedy," or "We can't afford that," spoken with great emotional intensity. These statements became part of your emotional circuitry, shaping how safe or unsafe it felt to receive, to ask, to expand. Yet now, as an adult, you stand at the edge of that reservoir with new authority. You can decide which patterns you will reinforce and which you will allow to drain away through disuse. Think for a moment of a man standing at the conveyor belt of his mind's factory. For years, without realizing it, he has stamped every idea for growth with a label that says, "Impossible." An opportunity appears, he stamps it, "Too risky." A new skill beckons, he stamps it, "Not my kind of thing." A dream of starting a business arises, he stamps it, "Who am I to try?" The subconscious dutifully sends these stamped forms into the machinery of reality, and the man wonders why his life feels so confined. One day, however, he becomes aware of his automatic stamp. He decides to change it. Now, when an idea for improvement comes, he says, "What if this is the next step in my expansion?" He stamps it "possible." even if he does not yet know how. The factory responds. New paths open, not because the universe suddenly changed, but because he changed the label he placed on his own ideas. You are that man or woman now. Your stamp is your belief. Your label is your inner assumption about what is available to you. When you gently, persistently change those assumptions, the machinery of your life shifts. Let us practice together, here and now, a form of guided visualization, a journey into your mental factory, where you will write new instructions for wealth and peace. You may close your eyes if it is safe to do so, or simply allow your awareness to soften inward as you listen. Begin by noticing your breath. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, leaving your body in a slow, steady rhythm. With each exhale, invite your shoulders to soften, your jaw to release, your stomach to loosen. You are not forcing relaxation, you are allowing it, giving permission for the body to trust this moment. Now, in the theater of your mind, see yourself standing at the entrance of a great building. This is your mental factory, the power plant of your life. The structure is vast, luminous, and alive with quiet energy. You open the door and step inside. You see intricate machinery, conveyor belts carrying ideas, workers representing different aspects of your subconscious process: memory, imagination, emotion, habit. They are all busy, all serving the orders they have been given over the years. You walk toward a central control panel, glowing with soft light. This control panel represents your belief stem. You notice that many of the dials have been set to low levels: deservingness, 30%, expectations of abundance, 20%, trust in guidance, 40%. These settings were not chosen by your conscious wisdom. They were set by old experiences, old voices, old fears. You gently place your hands on the controls. You hear a quiet inner voice say, "You may adjust these now. You are ready." Begin by turning up deservingness. As you do, see the number rise: 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%. With each increase, feel a warmth in your chest, as though a light were being turned on in the center of your being. Say inwardly, "I am worthy of wealth, peace, and support, not because of what I have done, but because of what I am, a living expression of infinite intelligence." Let that truth sink in. Now adjust expectations of abundance. Watch the dial climb as an inner calm grows. You are not demanding specific outcomes. You are aligning with a principle. You say inwardly, "Life is generous. There is more than enough. I allow myself to participate in this flow." Feel the tension in your body soften as you accept this new setting. Finally, turn up trust in guidance. As the number rises, you sense that you are not moving through life alone. There is a wisdom beneath your thoughts, orchestrating events, nudging you with intuitions, arranging meaningful coincidences. You say inwardly, "I trust the infinite intelligence within me to guide me step by step. I do not need to know the whole path. I take the next right step with faith." As these dials reach higher levels, you notice the workers in your mental factory shifting their activity. They begin selecting different ideas from the conveyor belt. Where before they picked out thoughts of "I can't," now they are drawn to thoughts of "I might," "I can learn," "I am capable." Where before they fed the machines with images of bills and struggle, now they feed them with images of stability, creativity, and contribution. The entire atmosphere changes, not through force, but through adjustment of your inner settings. Slowly, you turn from the control panel and walk back toward the entrance. As you leave the factory, you carry with you a new feeling, a subtle but unmistakable sense that something within you has shifted. You know that the outer changes may not appear in an instant, just as a seed does not become a tree overnight. But you also know that the seed has been planted, the blueprint upgraded, the engine redirected. This knowing is itself a form of wealth. When you open your eyes or return your attention to your surroundings, bring that feeling with you. This is not a feeling you must strain to maintain. It is a quiet assurance you return to throughout the day, especially when old patterns arise. There will be moments when circumstances still echo your previous beliefs. A bill arrives, a deal falls through, a plan is delayed. In those moments you have a choice. You can declare, "See, nothing has changed," reinforcing the old pattern, or you can say, "This is the echo of past beliefs. It does not define my future. I choose now to respond from my new consciousness of wealth." You feel the difference this makes in your body. Your shoulders stay relaxed, your breath remains deep, you take whatever outer action is appropriate, but you do so from a place of inner composure rather than panic. Over time, this new way of being becomes your natural state. Your nervous system, once so accustomed to living in fight-or-flight survival mode around money, begins to experience safety, even in uncertainty. This is neuroplasticity in action. The pathways of fear, worry, and self-sabotage grow weaker from disuse, while the pathways of trust, creativity, and solution-oriented thinking grow stronger. Your subconscious, receiving new orders consistently, reconfigures your automatic responses. You start to notice what some call synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem too precise to be random. A conversation with a stranger leads to a new opportunity. A forgotten idea resurfaces and becomes a source of income. An old skill becomes newly valuable. From the outside, others may say, "You're so lucky." From the inside, you recognize that something more orderly is at work. You have aligned with the law of belief, and the universe is responding. Remember that divine intelligence flows through all human beings, including you. This intelligence is the source of every invention, every work of art, every inspired business, every healing. It is not reserved for a chosen few. When you quiet your mind, align your emotions, and offer your subconscious a clear, confident pattern, you create a channel for this intelligence to express itself as ideas, insights, and guidance. Wealth, in this light, is not merely accumulation. It is expression. It is the outward flow of the inner richness that already resides within you. There may come a moment when, sitting quietly, you feel a gentle question rise from your own depths. If I truly believed I was supported, what would I dare to create? What gift would I offer? What step would I take? This question is an invitation from your deeper self. You do not need to answer it all at once. You simply begin to contemplate it, allowing it to shape your perception. As you do, small impulses may arise, to learn something new, to reach out to someone, to start a project. These impulses are not random. They are the language of divine intelligence, translated through your beliefs into practical guidance. You will also find that your relationship with material things changes. Instead of seeing money as a tyrant to fear or a god to worship, you begin to see it as a servant, a neutral tool that takes on the character you assign it. If you believe that wealth corrupts, your subconscious will protect you from it, creating situations where money slips away so that you can remain good in your own eyes. If you believe that wealth expands your ability to do good, to support, to create, then your subconscious will be willing to allow more of it into your experience. It will no longer treat abundance as a threat to your identity. Little by little, you realize that you are not trying to get wealth from the outside. You are aligning with wealth from the inside. You are tuning our inner frequency to match the vibration of sufficiency and trust. You are learning that the law of your life is belief, and that belief is your sacred responsibility. Each night, as you drift towards sleep, you practice the sleeping method, choosing affirmations that feel true enough to accept, yet expansive enough to stretch you. I am in harmony with the flow of wealth. My needs are met, my path is guided, and my heart is at peace. Each day you practice scientific prayer, affirming calmly and persistently that divine intelligence is organizing your affairs for good. Throughout the day you use the law of substitution, replacing thoughts of fear with thoughts of faith, thoughts of lack with thoughts of sufficiency. You engage in emotional alchemy, observing your feelings with compassion and gently shifting them by choosing interpretations that empower rather than diminish you. You remember the power of secrecy and silence, keeping your deepest desires as sacred seeds, sharing them only with those who can support their growth. And through it all, you honor the fact that your subconscious mind is always listening, always responding to the emotional tone of your inner life. In time, the distance between your inner reality and your outer conditions begins to shrink,